We had such potential, such promise. But we squandered our gifts. And so, 9, I am creating you. Our world is ending. Life must go on.
I really loved the film, and it really excited me. And I think one of my big questions was, it's obviously not a kid's film. It's PG-13,
Yeah.
and I love the fact that it was moving, you know, it's an adult story in animation, and the animation looks so good. And I want to know a little bit more about the animation process.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's that different than other, as far as the process goes, other animated films. I think that the story we're telling is a bit more dramatic than other animated films. And I think it's also, it's broad in scope. It's a kind of a large action adventure fantasy film too, which I think is new to bring to, because there's intensity and there's drama, and we're trying to make it feel real in some way. We're trying to make the world feel real, even though it's like a world we've never seen before. So the animation process, you know, it's a long process. It took about 3 years to make, and it's just, you know, it's just about constantly refining and just kind of reworking and reworking as you go and as you're making more footage to try to get the, you know, the best story that you can.
What I liked is, even though like it's not in 3D, there are certain things that happened, like there'd be a claw or a hand, and it felt like it was coming at you. And I just, was that on purpose? Is that something that you wanted to do?
I really wanted to immerse the audience and to be in the action, to be, you know, and to be 8 inches tall, to really see the world from the perspective of these characters. And you know, I think I come from an architectural background, so I have this fascination with space. And I think the way that you move through space and interact with space can lead to an emotional response in the audience. So we really played with the camera and moved the camera in interesting ways to try to elicit that kind of response. And also to use the camera as to participate in helping to tell the story. So as the camera moves, it might reveal something that'll, you know, trigger something in the audience's mind or give them a little hint at something that may happen later on. So
within the first 5 minutes, I was kind of like jumping, and I'd be scared by something, and I felt kind of embarrassed, but I think that just shows how immersive the film is just off the bat.
Well, and we wanted to do that. We wanted to get the audience to come in and then scare them and let them know that, okay, this is not going to be safe. This is going to be a movie that's going to come at you. And to try to unground people a little bit so they're not quite sure what to expect. Because then, you're setting the hook in some way.
Yeah, I was definitely a little on edge.
Great.
One of my favorite parts were the machines, the big machine builds, like the worm. Absolutely terrified me. But I loved the big blimps.
Sure,
with,
well, there's a whole cast of creatures and beasts in the film too. Some are more, some are really dark, and some are a little bit more comic in some way too. So we just had fun with that.
Yeah. How did you conceive of some of those? I mean, I keep going back to the blimps. I just love them.
Yeah.
And when they did the air raid sirens, I just thought that was so brilliant. And it was like, of course they would have air raid sirens, but it was amazing to me.
Yeah, well, and all the creatures, I mean, they all have like mythological creature basis. I mean, they're familiar things, whether it's a Medusa or a dragon or a Cyclops. But then we made them out of the bits and pieces of our world and put our aesthetic on top of them. And they're made out of found objects, but we wanted to put recognizable elements within them, sort of as anchors to the audience for scale and for period. And so you'll see in the giant floating blimp that there's actually an air raid siren that's connected. And you know, the big joke is that it's not mechanically; he has to actually reach up and crank it himself. So we're just trying to find moments of comedy within that.
Yeah, that was just amazing. And then another thing I loved was 3 and 4's book. When they find something and they pull and the string
put the little
connects, it was
tabs.
just like stuff like the attention to detail was just amazing.
Oh, thank you.
And it really stood out for me. And I thought it was
Well, I'm glad you
amazing.
picked up on all those things. Yeah.
Yes, I wanted to pick up on some special things, and I think for your first feature, and I watched the short, it was amazing.
Oh, well,
and
thank
I can't
you.
wait to see what you do next.
Sometimes fear is the appropriate response.
awaken something.
Something terrible.
Nine. You shall protect the future.